This is the land of the free. Stories of life and liberty in a time of war.
This is Joe Lindsley with our Land of the Free podcast, talking to you from the studios of Ukrainska pravda, Ukrainian truth here in Kyiv. And I'm excited for this conversation today. I think it was my friend Ashot Galstian, and was actually, I'm pretty sure, Ashot, you were you probably were the first Ukrainian with whom I had a conversation in 2018 when the American chef Anthony Bourdain died. He was a famous world traveler, and I sort of followed the way he lived his life. I booked a one-way ticket to Budapest. I ended up stuck in Istanbul. People told me to go to a bar in Kyiv called Bartender, and I was free to travel anywhere. It was before the pandemic, and so I went to Kyiv. My first stop was Bartender. Ashot was the barman and made amazing cocktails, the sort of cocktails, you could just have a conversation and you made something excellent. And so we became friends in those years before Russia's full-scale invasion. And then when the full-scale invasion happened, obviously the bars were shut down. Your place, Barman Diktat, with its sort of vast underground chambers, became a major place for refugees. It was a bomb shelter. People were living there for months. And also your family, Ashot's family, has a restaurant, a great cafe in the center of Kyiv, Armenian, Ukrainian cuisine. And that place became such a nexus of people who needed food and people who needed a place to stay. And so that was your first iteration of life in full-time war. And then, as we'll talk about in this conversation, Ashot, bartender, and his girlfriend, Nastia, Ukrainian singer, decided to do something quite extreme for victory. Nastia is a trained medic, and Ashot also learned how to become a medic. And we'll get into the details of it, but the summary is you guys are based in Donbas now, living in a house in some village that is subject to frequent shelling. And whenever there is a need, almost every day, to rescue soldiers especially who've been wounded in battle, you get in your vehicle. You're the driver. Ashot is driving, armed with a gun. Nastia is the medic. And now you're using, in a way probably you never could have imagined before, your skills as a bartender, as one of the best bartenders in Ukraine and beyond, using your skills from the hospitality business to take care of Ukrainian soldiers in those awful and crucial moments between the time they're wounded in the front lines until they can get to a hospital to hopefully get repaired. And so here's our conversation with my great friend Ashot, Ukrainian medic, former bartender, now victory worker.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me here.
And man, I look for, and as we were saying, I look forward to the time of peace when we could be having a proper cocktail. Usually it would be something bitter with some gin.
Nice.
That I wouldn't even have to order. I would just walk into Barman Diktat and that would be prepared almost instantly. Let's start with this. Your story. Like right now, you're on a little bit of a break. That's why you're here in Kyiv. But usually you're in Donbas. You're in eastern Ukraine. That's your base. What is it like? You all of a sudden you get a call and they say, we need help, we need evacuations from the front line?
Mm-hmm. So basically we start our work in Donbas in January of this year. And usually we found some militaries that need help of a medevac crew right now in one point places. So usually when we we understand which days in a week we work with them, it can be 5 days we work, 2 days just to rest a little bit or something. And usually we start early in the morning. In our house we just get up, do our stuff, little breakfast, and then just cooking some food to have it there in the work, because sometimes just to recover your strengths you need warm food, and especially in a war zones that it is a problem to have a normal food, because usually you eat something just dry, some touristic stuff and it's not so healthy
Well,
for you.
as you say this, I'm smiling because I should mention also your parents' restaurant. I don't know if we can say the name of it.
Well, yeah, why not?
Art 52.
52, yeah.
And it is it's sort of it's a bit underground, Armenian, Ukrainian home cooking. Every time I go, I don't know if you have a menu. I walk in, immediately your mom and dad show up, and there's just plate after plate of fantastic food, homemade bread, fantastic fish. And you're vegetarian, but your family makes great meat and fish.
Sure.
And that it's something that you carry on, this tradition of hospitality. And so that's, but that thoughtfulness of realizing how you need, and this is what you guys did for soldiers, for volunteers, for all kinds of people. The first few weeks, your family's restaurant.
I mean, not only weeks, like maybe 3 months or something. We was cooking in a best days. It was like 500 lunches per day.
Wow. Right.
For military, for hospitals, for refugees.
And I heard, while everyone appreciated free food from many different sources, there was a quiet competition, or people had a secret wish that they would get the food from Art 52.
Sure.
Because it was always made with love. And so you're carrying this on. So you're in a house in Donbas, preparing to go to the front line, and you're taking time to make a good warm meal for.
Just imagine winter. It's super cold. Winter in Ukraine is like minus 10 degrees Celsius or something. It's super cold, shelling all the time. You're like just trying to do your best. And if you want to do your best on a big distance, right, you need to care about yourself, about your health, about your mental health. For sure. One of these things is just a normal food, with proteins, carbohydrates, and like fresh vegetables, etc. While we are driving to that evacuation point, we're just going to like a coffee shop or something to grab a cappuccinos and another hot drinks for our friends that they are in the evacuation point, near the front line. So that was also like a nice thing to bring a normal coffee to our military friends who was like sleeping in the cars in this medical evacuation points.
So you're delivering cappuccinos to the war zone.
Just imagine, you are in a war zone and somebody bringing you a cappuccino in the morning.
Pretty good cappuccinos. You can
It's okay. It's not like the best, but
you'll take it in these circumstances.
Sure.
And so you get to these triage points, really, right? And like a field hospital, I guess. But then you go beyond that. You're going into gray zones. Gray zone meaning areas where there could be Russians in the next house, right?
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the mission, or it depends on the work that we are doing right now. Sometimes it is like usually, I can say it is an evacuation point, like maybe 3 or like 4 kilometers from the line when the war is,
the current fighting is happening. Yeah.
So why 3 or 4 kilometers? Because our cars is not armored, and this first evacuation thing is you need an armored vehicle just to bring the wounded in action soldiers, right? Then in this evacuation point, we're stabilizing them and driving them to the next stabilization point with the more professional doctors, and who is the profiled in trauma, and then after that another evacuation crews are taking them to the hospital. And after that hospital, they're going to like Kharkiv, Kyiv, Dnipro, or like big hospitals.
And is it volunteers as well who are bringing the wounded in the armored vehicle from the immediate front line? That's also volunteers, is that right? Or is
sometimes yes, but in general, no. In general, if there is an armored vehicle, it means it is military.
So basically, the military, because they have to be very mindful of their resources, they get the guys as far away but as close as possible so they can save time. That's where you come in And I remember you described to me. You said you never put the medical sign on your van because the Russians have been targeting.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not a secret for everybody's that in every single war that they take part there. Yeah, so they just trying to find some, I don't know, Red Cross ambulances, humanitarian aid, and like they don't care, you know. They just trying to make more problems, and that's it.
Maybe to intimidate the volunteers.
Yeah, because just imagine if there is a brigade or something, and you know that these couple days they killed your medics, and it is a mental thing, you know. You know that next day maybe when you will be wounded, there will be no medics that who gonna help you, you know, because they're just trying to make this problem with logistics, with
and to get into people's minds.
Yeah.
And you knew, I think, Dr. Peter Reed, right? The American Marine doctor? He was killed in Bakhmut. And exactly in this kind of circumstance, there had been a shelling, and then 15 minutes later, the medical team arrives, including several Americans, one of whom I knew, and then Dr. Peter Reed. And you can see in the freeze frame from a CCTV,
you can see the missile.
Yeah, going directly targeting the medical
evacuation. It was if I'm not it was a white van.
Mm-hmm.
White, just imagine.
Yeah, not even.
It is not a military thing. It's not in camouflage or something. Yeah, with the I think there was a Blue Cross or something. Maybe I'm not sure. But white van with people with no military clothes or something. They just was trying to help civil people.
Have you come under shelling while you are evacuating, guys?
While we was waiting on evacuation point, yeah, not one time.
Often, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks God, everything is fine. So it was not so close to us, like 50 meters maybe or something.
And did you ever train as a driver? I mean, do you have to use evasive techniques? I mean, how are your driving skills now?
The thing is, like when you're raised in Armenian family, you dream about car since you are like 8. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like sports cars and.
I mean, just car, just driving with your friends or something. So when I was like 16, I was already taking my father's car and driving through the city. It is illegal,
but it's part of your culture.
Yeah. And so from 16, I'm driving, and nothing special. Just like to be sure that it's secure, fast. That's it.
And is it, so you talked about, how food and the right nutrition can help you be ready for these difficult moments, but also you're a sportsman. You've been practicing, I never can pronounce these words correctly. I'll let you say it.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, it's not hard, but I just can't say it. And you just received your purple belt at a camp in the Carpathian Mountains.
Yes,
sort of a necessary break, I guess, from this.
Sure.
And by the way, when you were in the mountains, does it seem hard to believe that just a week before you were, in the war zone and you have people, horribly wounded soldiers in your car, and then a few weeks later you're there in the pristine mountains, and does that mess with your mind or?
I mean, yeah, like sometimes you have these flashbacks or something, and you just go in your like mind for a minute or two, maybe sometimes even more. And you cannot understand why it's so. It can be. Everybody wish about peace. Maybe like if you're a normal person, if you're an adequate person, you think about peace, about peaceful place. And every time I'm in a peace, in a normal places, I just think about another like 1 million. Or maybe even more people that struggle right now. They're in a war zone. they're shelled, they're in trenches or something, etc., etc. I mean, not only in Carpathians. Every time I'm not in a war zones, every time I'm in Kyiv or in another peaceful cities, like I'm sure like one time in an hour I'm gonna think about war. I'm gonna like just, yeah, it will come up in my mind.
And has your training, I think you said you also, even when you're there in Donbas, that, you have to practice meditation. And do you have sort of a routine? And you talked about making the food, but do you have any other regimens or routine so that you're ready no matter what, whatever that day is going to throw at you, you can be calm and cool?
Yeah. I'm gonna say truly in the winter, it was a little bit hard for me because of the weather, because of everything. In the places that we stay there, the water there is just in the morning and in the evening, just a couple hours. Wow. And if you're gonna work out, you need to take a shower, but there is no water, and this kind of problems. You cannot go for a run because it's so cold. It's ice on the But now it's springtime. I found a gym in the east, in Donbas, in the city where we stay. It's like a local gym, it's like super old school, I'm gonna say. Yeah. And another days just running, meditation, kind of yoga or something, stretching. It really helps. It really helps to, if your body feels good, it will be easy to operate everything.
And it helps that you're sharing this experience with Nastia. So she's an expert medic by everything I've been able to see and hear. And you can share this. Not only are you helping each other in these extreme situations, but afterward you can talk about it, right? You're not isolated.
Sure,
and
sure.
And you were telling me the story, and when you get soldiers into your truck, it's like a Mercedes van, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And not armored, you can move fast because it's not armored. And when these guys are often pretty horribly wounded, and you said that many of them say the same thing, right? What do they tell you?
I don't remember.
I remember you were telling me this. You said, I try to remember.
Sorry.
You said that, and they're a little bit confused. Obviously they don't quite know what's happened to them, and one of your tasks is to keep them calm.
Yeah. Sure.
And what do they all want to go back, right?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So like in 50% of time, maybe a little bit less. Okay, especially when there is a storm or something, some special operation or something. And when they get in the car, they just asking for a magic pill, and they want to go back and fight with their brothers in arms, and just like sometimes it's getting crazy. Say like, I want to go back, give me pill, and I'm going back. let's go, come on, and you just calm down. For you today, war is over. For today, your war is over. Come on, you do your best. Now it's time to rehabilitation or something. This for sure. This 3 days or maybe a week, you're not gonna like take part in operations or something. But it's quite. I respect these people because no matter what, they want to fight for their country, for people, for their families, like plech o plech. Near their brothers.
Oh, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah.
And while they know that their friends are still there fighting with the enemy, they want to join. Yeah. And sometimes to die with them, or to like.
What and maybe this might be, I don't know, probably one of the tougher questions. But for example, on these missions you had, what is the average duration of the time you have the wounded in the car? Is it like 15 minutes or a couple hours?
Usually it depends on the like distance from the evacuation point to the stabilization point, so sometimes it can be 20 minutes, sometimes it can be sometimes hour and a little bit more. It depends.
Are you playing music as you're driving?
Sure.
Yeah?
I mean, usually yes.
I remember one time we were on a mission to take some supplies to a recently liberated village. This is last fall. Kozacha Lopan, north of Kyiv, only 2 miles from Russia. And we had a very crazy driver, very good driver, but wild-spirited, I'll say. And the song, I think it was Johnny Cash's version of that song, I've Been Everywhere. I've been everywhere, man, and list all these places around the world. And I'm sitting in the back of this van. There's no seats. You can hear shelling everywhere. And a very uncomfortable bulletproof vest. I'm getting tossed around, and I'm thinking, now I can say I've been everywhere. And it's so weird to have music. It's necessary too, but in these, just like you're having the Cappuccino too, to be in these dire situations and to have music. But I think that helps people really see how real this is. So you're driving to or from a hotspot, and you got music on. What keeps you pumped? What keeps you?
So the thing is, if it is like the danger zone, I'm not playing music. I'm just like concentrated to the sounds. Yeah. So because if Nastia is in the back of the car, she's like working now with the wounded. My mission right now is driving and just to monitor the situation, what is going on. Yeah, and when it's no more or less like danger zone, I just put music on. It can be different. Like it can be some. I remember in the winter it was kind of a Japanese experimental jazz. It's super crazy, like like something that you will not understand, and you don't need to understand this kind of music. You just need to enjoy it, Just it's a sort of art, Sometimes it can be some jungle music, something with fast beats, something that like drives you, kind of a drum and bass or something. It can be folk music, Ukrainian folk music. It can be Armenian folk music.
I don't think I've ever heard Armenian folk music.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, especially modern. Like there's couple bands that I like really much.
I'm really curious about this Japanese experimental jazz, and maybe if you send me the song, we can put it in the description.
Sure. It's super crazy.
These are some of the weird, surreal moments of life in the war, right? Where it's like this is the soundtrack of your, in many ways, this is like, living in a superhero movie, and you have an actual soundtrack. It's the things you listen to every day. And on the more difficult side of that, have you, and you don't have to answer any of these, but how, have you had any soldiers die in your care in the car while you were evacuating?
In our car, no. So sometimes, as a volunteer medevac, sometimes we also deliver maybe killed in actions to another places. Yeah, so
you've had to transport sometimes.
Yeah.
Those who've been killed.
I mean, there is no question for us. So if this person who was killed in action, he gives the best thing that he have in his life. It's his life for the liberty, for our country, for us, and just. Sorry, Joe. I'm trying to.
No, man, it's all right.
Translate in English. And sometimes when I'm trying to say something deeper, it's harder.
Well, but then it's worth it, because I think it's very important to get that deep thought, so you can think. Or say it in Ukrainian, and then we can figure it out from.
Окей, really?
Yeah,
Okay. So, справа в тому, що коли є така задача перед тобою стоїть, відвести там в якийсь, наприклад, це може бути стабілізаційний пункт, в якому є морг, да, куди ти привозиш загиблого. І я не знаю, я чув, що від деяких людей, що їм важко, особливо, якщо це волонтерський якийсь медевак, їм важко робити таку роботу. Але я не думаю, що це важче, ніж віддати своє життя за країну. Тож з повною повагою ми беремося і за таку роботу, і на щиті, як то кажуть, веземо загиблого в місце, куди треба. So in our medical evacuation car, there was no like wounded that died, but in the stabilization points where we work, especially near the Bakhmut, some days it was like 120, 150 wounded per day, just like coming, and sometimes wounded is hard wounded, right? With like several amputations and etc. Yeah, and sometimes it's impossible to bring him back alive, you know. Yes, your doctors are fighting, but sometimes it's impossible because a lot of blood goes away, or respiration problems, some troubles with airways, etc.
And you mentioned Bakhmut. You were in Bakhmut fairly often, because that was where so much of the action was happening, and so many lives lost and so many wounded. But what I saw that city in June 2022, and it was still, there were nice parks. I could still see what it was like before Russia destroyed it, before Prigozhin's Wagner group destroyed it. When you were there last in Bakhmut, what was the feeling? I mean, the world we've heard the word Bakhmut. What were your emotions? What did you see? What did you feel when you were there in Bakhmut?
I mean, it's a scary place, like from the apocalyptic movies, When I was there, it looks... I mean, every time I saw there, like, civilians, I couldn't understand them. Like, what the fuck are you doing there? Come on, like, get your clothes, get your stuff, and just, like, move to another city, like Konstantinivka, for example. It's like 20 kilometers maybe or something. I know, if you are in the city, you hear non-stop, you hear gunfights, shellings or something. You hear it like non-stop. I mean, winter, there was no electricity, no water, nothing. And I mean, when you are in the city, you understand that 1 kilometer from here is Russians, yeah, and they trying to kill as much as possible, and you understand that you can be the next one. Yeah,
especially, even as a medic, because we've seen all the stories of how they've been targeted. And you, when you think back, Ashot, when you think back to your life as a bartender, traveling around, going to these, drink making competitions, and does that seem real? That like the life in Kyiv from before the full scale invasion, does it seem like a dream?
Life will be no more like the past life. There is no more past life. It can be the same right now. It cannot be like this. I mean, it was pretty nice days. It was cool, but now I cannot imagine the same. After victory, yes, but now impossible for me to imagine.
Do you see any of the skills that made you a famous bartender here in Ukraine? Or do you use that? I mean, is that essential? In some sense, could you say that your work as a bartender was good training for what you do now?
I think yes. One of the thing is like the hospitality thing. Yeah, that the guest that comes into your bar, you need to treat him like as he's your guest in your house. Like, just imagine. And just to make him a little bit happier than he was before he came to your bar. Just to understand him, just to make his life a little bit easier for this 1 hour or 2 hour while he's in your bar. And the same thing is with our soldiers that need some kind of medic help. Yeah. You're just trying to thank them, just trying to say that everything is okay, whereas everybody thank you for your everything. Yeah. So now just please, we're gonna take care about your wounds. Be calm, everybody, everything will be nice. The thing is that in our car we have things for the soldiers, like a power bank. Just imagine you came back from the trenches and you want to call your like friends or somebody and your telephone is died, and here's power bank. You can recharge your phone. We have like, if it's cold for you, we have a big pink blanket with a unicorn. We call our medevac Bloody Pony. It's a kind of name of our medevac. So, and the blanket is also with a pony, you know. Just imagine you like one hour ago you was fighting with Russians, and now you are in a medevac with a like bright pink blanket with a unicorn, charging your phone.
Just to show them that they're safe. They're gone from the hell for a little while.
Yeah.
Wow, I bet this is probably not many medevac vans like this. Maybe there are. Your girlfriend and fellow medical evac hero here, Nastia, she's a singer.
Yeah.
And that was her career before the full-scale invasion. I wondered, does she ever sing to the soldiers in the?
The thing is that sometimes soldiers recognize her and asking for selfies or something. But I don't remember that she was singing for the...
She's too busy stopping the bleeding.
For her, it's also like kind of a stress or something.
Yeah.
But sometimes in evacuation points or in stabilization points, she can sing with somebody some folk Ukrainian songs.
Well, so just
for fun.
Imagine you are Ukrainian soldier and you've been terribly wounded. You've been through hell in so many different ways. You get into the medical evac van. You realize it's called the
Bloody
Pony. All of a sudden, there's a pink blanket with a unicorn around you. They're offering you perhaps a cappuccino, probably not for the wounded. And then you see this musician you recognize. And I wonder in those moments, I mean, maybe that's where, and also for the outside world to see, like that's where Ukrainian society is all together in this effort. You know, I mean, how extraordinary is that you're, you know, 'cause I think for Americans, because our wars have been so far away for so long, but you're fighting for your life now after you were fighting for your country. And then you see a musician who's there to care for you. That's incredible.
Yeah. Just imagine you're listening her music, watching her YouTube clips, and now she's just helping you to survive.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, it has to make them. It has to, at the very least, make them feel good, but almost it's overwhelming to consider. That's incredible. And then Nastia just released. Well, together you released a new song and a music video. With the song
she released, she just asked me to take a part of the in a video clip, and that's it. Yeah.
And the song was this song. What's the name of the song?
Heroes Die, Герої вмирають.
And this was it written obviously from her experience, her daily experience?
The writer of the song is Ashot Galstian. Her friend, she's also a singer, volunteer. And she wrote these words like a couple of years ago. I mean, maybe 3 or 4. So the thing is with this song, usually when hero here die in Ukraine, everybody say "Герої не вмирають." So heroes didn't never die. Or something like that. But the thing is that it's not truth. Heroes die. That's the truth. Because they're also people. They're also with the blood, with hearts. They're normal people. They're not some kind of God or something. So the truth is that heroes die. And in this words of the song, there were like multiple ways how soldier may die in the war. It can be a not working gun, yeah. It can be shelling, it can be some kind of a virus, it can be everything. Like million ways to die. Choose one.
Yeah, surrounded by it. Yeah, ways you never could have imagined. Did you when so you were here in Kyiv, in the first hours, first days, weeks, months of the full scale invasion. Was it hard for you? Was it a challenge for you to find your place? Because this is a question I think of so many Ukrainians. Unless you already were in the military, some people thought that was their calling and they went to sign up to fight. In Kyiv, I guess everyone did the first couple of days. But was it hard for you to find your place? I mean, now you have your routine. This is what you're meant to do right now. But was it hard for you to get to that point? Was it a difficult decision to figure out what can I do to contribute to victory?
The thing is that this volunteer kitchen project we started just 2 days after, or 2 or 3 days after the full-scale war. And when you are already doing something, it's easier, So you understand that this is your part now. You are doing this job, yeah, and it helps people. So for now, it's okay. And while we was working for this volunteer kitchen,
the volunteer kitchen, you mean in your parents' restaurant?
Yeah. And in this point, I was already talking with Nastia. She said that let's work together. If you are okay with that, I'm gonna find a way where we can work together. But while we're finding, please just start to study something like takmet, the how to fire some tactical things. Start to buy everything like vest, like every this
just to be as
equipment.
ready as you can. Yeah.
And I dedicated next couple months to just prepare myself. And in September there was a place for me to go, and I start my volunteer as a driver of a medevac, medic, and a gunfighter, something.
Bloody pony.
Yeah.
Well, and as you sit here now in Kyiv, small break. Are you itching to get back? Are you feel I'm ready to go back now to
Right now, let's go.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you need a reporter to come along and share the story. I mean, and I want, as we continue this show, Land of the Free, we want to not just be in the studio, but to be, in the field around this country, because that's where you can really get the emotions and the raw stories. But it's also helpful to have these moments when you can step away, as you did in the mountains, as we can do here, to step back and analyze it, say, okay, here's how we're doing. Here's things maybe we need to improve. And I think that, as you point out so well, like how you keep yourself strong, calm, healthy, because you can't let this break your mind, because it'll be of no use to.
For sure.
And nourished. What was the last home cooked meal you had from your parents, from your mother?
Like while I'm here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like something. Like shakshuka or something, something like kind of regular, but still, when it prepares your parents for you, it's the best meal ever.
Well, I would say for your parents, it's great for all of their guests. I barely ate today. I'm saving up for tomorrow. I'm gonna go have a big feast at R52. And
let's go together.
Yeah, all right, man, let's do it. And let's. Oh, by the way, we should mention. We are working on getting it's been a long process, but getting a proper ambulance bed for Bloody Pony, for your amazing medical evac vehicle. So, because this will help you, you can more easily adjust the position of the soldier when they're in these very dire and very urgent situations. So if anyone wants to help, we'll put information on how people can contribute to that effort for Ashot and Nastia.
Thank you.
And yeah, my friend, thank you so much. This is Joe Lindsley, Land of the Free podcast, with our team from UkrainianFreedomNews.com. and the wonderful people of Ukrainska Pravda here from their studio in Kyiv, and my friend Ashot Galstian, great Ukrainian, formerly of Barman Diktat, now at the front lines, working to save the lives of Ukrainian soldiers every single day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe, for having
Дуже
me.
дякую.
Дуже дякую тобі, навзаєм.